Hello, welcome to our Time Capsule project. My name is Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., and I will be presenting the first part of this presentation. Our first artifact is a Montgomery bus, which represents the Montgomery bus boycott, an important moment in the American civil rights movement. It was sparked by the arrest of Rosa Parks on the 1st of December 1955 for refusing to give up her seat to a white man on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama. This led to a massive boycott of the city's bus system, lasting 381 days, which mattered as 75% of the riders were black. This was the first major campaign led by me, Dr. King. The boycott ended when the Supreme Court ruled that segregation on buses was unconstitutional, setting a precedent for future civil rights action. This connects with the many boycotts that organizations and individuals have used to protest companies and institutions supporting Israel's occupation of Gaza. They both use economic action to apply pressure, aim to shift public opinion through consumer action, involve grassroots organizations leading the way, and inspire moral dialogue around complicity and human rights. My second artifact is a copy of the letter from Birmingham jail written by me, Dr. King, while imprisoned in Birmingham, Alabama. This is one of the most important documents in American civil rights history. I, Dr. King, was arrested for participating in nonviolent protests against segregation. While in jail, I was criticized by a group of 8 white clergymen who labeled my actions as unwise and untimely. In response, I, Dr. King, wrote this letter, my defense of nonviolent resistance and the urgency of confronting injustice. This letter, definitely one of my best works, was a call to conscience and action, criticizing the white moderate. It has many ideas that today's Black Lives Matter movement echoes, such as the urgency of justice and the moral need for people with a platform to speak out. This letter reminds us that the fight for justice requires not only laws to change, but hearts and minds to awaken. Now passing the mic to my boy Mahatma Gandhi.
Thanks, Martin. What's up, guys? I'm Mahatma Gandhi, and this is my section of the project. My first artifact is salt. Plain old salt. That's because it represents the Salt March led by me in 1930. It was a 240-mile march protesting the British monopoly on salt. Although it could be collected anywhere on the coast on India, British law forbid the collection and sale of salt by Indians. We were forced to buy it from British merchants. So we went on the march, and then I broke the law by symbolically collecting salt, making it accessible and meaningful to the masses. In particular, this connects to the Cochabamba water war in 1999, a movement to unprivatize Cochabamba's water supply. After it was privatized and prices skyrocketed, taking up to a quarter of a family's income. Both movements used civil disobedience to protest privatization of everyday necessities. And both movements succeeded in their aims and influenced other similar protests around the globe. My second artifact is the spinning wheel or charkha. This became one of the most iconic symbols of India's struggle for independence. It emerged from my broader strategy of Swadeshi, the call for self-sufficiency. In the early 20th century, India was heavily dependent on British imports, especially textiles, as the British established a monopoly over India's textile industry. Millions of Indians were forced to buy British low-quality clothes at inflated prices. In response, I, Gandhi, initiated a boycott of British goods and encouraged Indians to start spinning our own cloth using the simple traditional spinning wheel. Thus, the spinning wheel became an emblem of resistance to foreign domination and a call for economic independence. Similarly, Canadians' boycott of American products uses similar principles. Canadians are unsatisfied with their current dependence on the USA for their products and with the trade war the American government has sparked. So they are currently boycotting American trade. This shows similar actions, boycotts for similar principles, the desire for self-sufficiency that many Indians felt then and many Canadians feel now. Alright, I yacked a lot, so now let me pass this on to my man Nelson.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm Nelson Mandela, and this is my part of the project. So, the first artifact I chose is the African National Congress flag. Let me tell you about the ANC. We were one determined group of people. The ANC was the main political organization organizing our protests, demonstrations, boycotts, and other civil disobedience campaigns. They gave me a platform to speak out, organize, and mobilize against the racist apartheid laws. Without them, nothing would have been done. Just like all our movements today, without a group organizing and spearheading efforts, nothing would get done. For example, without the Palestinian Liberation Movement organizing the many protests and boycotts, all the people demonstrating would be disorganized and weak, and we wouldn't get any change. Same with Hong Kong's democracy movement and the protests in Myanmar and the Me Too movement and all the others. Strong leadership that people are willing to listen to is needed for the wanted change to take place. Now, my second artifact is very personal to me. The Rivonia trial court documents. I chose this artifact because it represents a very important moment in our fight against apartheid laws. The Rivonia trial, when I, Nelson Mandela, and my allies were accused of sabotage and plotting to overthrow the apartheid government. Rather than denying it, I, Nelson Mandela, took full responsibility, embodying one of the three principles of civil disobedience, accepting the consequences of breaking unjust laws to expose their immorality. This was sadly followed by them imprisoning me for 27 years. But that's the price we pay. This connects with many of today's movements, such as climate change activists, many of whom willingly accept arrest and fines for peaceful protest. Hong Kong democracy leaders, who have also used their trials as platforms to make statements, and Iranian women's rights protesters, many of which face prison, violence, or death, and yet continue to speak out. Thank you for listening.